time to gather round, get all the kids in the neighborhood. Yeah! We'll sit in circles and clap our hands and clap, clap, clap. We'll jump up and down and scream. Yeah! It's the serial killer story hour, and it's live with Pete Altieri. That's the bald guy from Murder Metal Mayhem. Come on, kids, scream out! Serial killer story hour, yeah! Serial killer story hour, yeah, yeah! How about one more time with some balls, kids? Yeah. Serial killer story hour, yeah! Horns high, high, high.
What is up, everybody? Good to see you here for some Murder Metal Mayhem tonight. I was almost late. Actually, I was right as I sat down, it said go live, so I didn't even have a chance to get on the message board here or the chat room. But I was arranging some of the gear I've got here because you won't believe what happened to me today. I've been waiting for my new Destiny shirt. I know Misleading Evidence is waiting on hers because she won the shirt I got from TeePublic, which is the one that's right here. Okay, it's going out tomorrow. My home healthcare worker will be here with me tomorrow, and she's going to be able to get some of this merch out of here that I've been trying to send out. So thank you for your patience, but that's already spoken for. But I was supposed to get my shirt I ordered, which was the front print. What happened was when I set it up originally, by mistake, I clicked back print. So the first shirt I ordered, which is the one that I got, was printed on the back. So it was on me. I mean, I messed up, but TeePublic is so awesome. They're like, hey, it doesn't matter whether it was your mistake, our mistake, whatever. We want you to be happy, so we're going to send you another shirt. I'm like, hey, that's awesome. At the time, they had no idea that I was the guy that even created the shirt. I think they just thought I was its customer, which made me even happier because they treated me extremely well, not just because I was a creator, but because I was just a person that ordered this shirt. So they said, they would send the shirt out, and then now it's wrong. So, because I got it out of the package, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They printed it on the back again. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. I emailed them and like, hey guys, like you got to get this together because I like using you. Now I've never had any issues with them at all. Like I said, the one time I ordered a wrong size for my wife, they corrected it and got it right out. It was fine. So I'm wondering if it was just me setting it up the way that I did is what caused the problem. I'm not sure. But whatever the case may be, I got 2 of them now. So I'm going to give another one away tonight. So if you did not win that shirt, then you got another one that's the same thing. It's printed on the back. It's a 4X, so it's a giant one. And it's never been worn. The second one, like I said, just arrived today in the package. As soon as I took it out and held it up, I realized it was printed on the back again. So whenever they have a mistake, they just tell you to keep the one that you've got and use it for whatever you choose. And so I already know the answer, so I'm just going to give it away tonight. So let's do it. And I'm going to try to get all of it out. I'm waiting on a CD. One person won a CD a while back, and I forgot about it. And he mentioned it when he won a sticker. So I need to get that for him. That's the Murder Metal Mayhem stupid. I'm trying to think of the name of the CD. It's our comedy CD of all the silly commercials we've done and really, really horrible stuff we've done for the podcast. But yeah, it was a stupid something and distasteful. It was distasteful and stupid or something like that. And it's like 70 minutes of just craziness. So anyway, somebody won that CD. You can order it digitally too from the website if you want to check it out. It's got a lot of He's got 45 of the commercials we've done. Kind of like, John Wayne Gacy babysitting and Ted Bundy escort services and, things like that. Things in poor taste. And anybody that hangs around the studio gets, oh, you just saw Pee Wee walk by. That's funny. So wanted to there Pee Wee. Pee Wee's on the merch page. He is the Puppuccino character. I did an AI version of him walking with a pimp hat and some chains, and he's got women chasing after him. And it's the Puppuccino T-shirt. You can order it if you want. I really just made it for my wife because she didn't know I surprised her with it. And I thought, well, I'll leave it up there. And I've sold a few. So apparently people have bought it. I don't know if they're listeners or they just thought that it was cute because they had a Chihuahua and maybe they call him Puppuccino. I don't know. I'm not sure. But all right, let's say hello to some people here. Donna Lembo, first to sign in. Awesome. Good to know Donna's here because she's protecting the realm. But with these serial killer story hours, we've done, we've had small crowds, and that's fine. I've told you repeatedly that I don't care about that. I'll do this for one or two of you if you wanted me to. I just like talking about true crime and serial killers. And so I want to spread the love. So here we are. We got misleading evidence here, Alicia. We got Karis, voice of astrology. Words Bloom, awesome. Drinking my Tim Hortons. Words Bloom. I'm drinking Tim Hortons. Let's see here. We got Phil Biggs in again. Awesome. Christina. Jethro Troll. I love that one. I'm not a big fan of the band. I just love that screen name. That's awesome. Jethro Troll. Nothing against them, just never was my thing. I think it's the vocals. It's kind of weird, operatic kind of vocal. Just didn't set well with me. Juan Molina, excellent. Good to see you, Juan. Good to see you, Juan. I know Juan would want to miss Joe Kallinger. I mean, you want to talk about disgusting. Here we go. I'll get to the business of this discussion because it's going to be a longer one than I've done before here based on the word count. But today we're going to be doing a new we're doing a new episode of the show, episode 8 on Joseph Kallinger. You may not know who this guy is, but you're going to after this one. Crazy, and I mean crazy story, over the top details involving some sex and, of course, murder, defecation. There's like a lot of gross stuff. I'm going to try to make it as civil as I can, though, believe me, but definitely not for everybody. Kids are involved in some of this. So if that's not your thing, you want to bow out. No harm, no foul. I understand. I just want to be very clear. All right. So like and comment if you're down for doing this with me. And if you're not a subscriber, please do. I am hovering just under 15,000. So I need some new subs out there. I want to say thank you to Donna. She's our moderator. AR Hayes may stop in, and he is one as well. And Catherine is out there in the desert in Nevada. Hope she's safe and sound. She signed in last live we did, which was really cool. So she's a mod as well. Thanks to the members, the Horns High Club and the Mayhem Squad. Appreciate your membership. If you're into that, you can do that, but not expected or anything. I just appreciate it. Helps pay the bills. StreamYard, which is a service that we use to do these lives and stuff, is not cheap, and they keep jacking their rates up. And there's other stuff too, website costs and different things that we do to promote. Things cost money, so I appreciate that. The merch page, got the new merch page up. I'll try maybe later if we've got time to show you the merch page while we're on the live. But if not, I'll put the link up later. You can do that, or you can go to the description and there's a link in there. You can go to the store and order all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's crazy. Lots of different designs I've come up with. I've got my new Idaho 4 inspired line with the Deathany shirt. I mean, you got to get a Deathany shirt. That's just worth it. It looks so good. I mean, the quality of these shirts is awesome. And then I'm wearing the Murder Metal Mayhem barbed wire shirt, which I like this one, wicked. I got the hoodie of the same logo. So you can put the logo on different things, different colors, up to 5X in size, and they ship international. So go check that out. So this is the way these go when we do these serial killer story hours is I'm going to keep this as PG-13 as I can. Probably going to be crossing over into R with this dude. So again, you've been warned. Limited chat involvement. I might stop about halfway through it to kind of chat with you for a bit because, like I said, this is going to be a longer one and I don't want to put you to sleep. And then we'll do some question and answers for the last 15 minutes or so. And I'll do my best to keep it at an hour. But like I said, lots of info with this guy. So, all right. So he is born December 11th, 1935 in Philadelphia. And he's born as Joseph Brenner. But soon after, his father abandons his mom and then she gives him up to foster care. So got to be a rough choice to make, but obviously better than hurting yourself or your child. So many of these true crime stories, it's like, why do they have to hurt the kid? Just turn him in. Bring him to a firehouse if you have to, something other than that. So he gets adopted by the Kallingers in 1939. They were Austrian immigrants, very hardworking people. And they didn't adopt Joseph for the reason that most couples would. They were going to raise him to work in their shoemaking business. And when they were ready to retire, he was going to provide for them and they're just going to kick back. All right. That's their plan. No love in this house at all. Is horrible. And this is how Joseph Kallinger had the nickname the Shoemaker. Okay. Because that's what he did. And he would become one of the best in Philadelphia and was sought after for his excellent work. So he was good at what he did. Wished he would have just stayed in the shoe shop. But there was zero love, as he grew up. Total opposite of anything like nurturing. It was horrible. And they catch him masturbating by sticking his, in a hole in the plaster wall of his room. And he gets punished, and his father spackles the hole back, and then eventually he makes another hole and he keeps doing it. And so they're just beside themselves with this kid with this act. And I'm trying to keep this PG-13, as I told you. And his parents tell him this horrible lie that if he kept doing that and his thing got hard, it was because he was possessed. It was possessed by the devil. And they were afraid that he was going to start using that thing to get with, some girls and eventually get away from them. And then they would lose their employee. Again, that's their only reason for doing anything with this guy. So his parents lie to him about this operation, supposedly, that they had done for him to make his thing not work anymore. And he believes it. He was beaten and punished, deprived food at times. And at 9, he was attacked and SA'd by a group of boys in the neighborhood. So, I mean, what an absolutely awful story. I mean, this dude cannot catch a break. He had no friends, so he would use his own money that he earned from making shoes. I guess his parents let him keep a little bit of it at least. And that was the one thing they did let him do was go to the movies. My guess is that's the day the Kallingers picked to go jump in bed and get to see each other while Joseph's at the movies. But I'm just making a guess there. But his parents find out that he's buying people's tickets to go with him, and he gets punished. He can't go to the movies for a while, and that's devastating to him. And eventually they let him go, but he's got to go alone. Now, all the while, Joseph is learning the shoe business. He's doing great. He's better than expected, very productive. But he ends up meeting a girl, Hilda Bergman, and from seeing her at the movie theaters or at the movie theater he went to, and then also he played Ebenezer Scrooge in a play, and she went and she was part of that or was there and saw him do that. It was very good. His parents made fun of him though and forced him to perform Shakespeare as they threw food at him and made fun of him and everything else. I mean, this is like how to build a serial killer 101. I mean, god damn. Now, even though his parents didn't want him around Hilda, he ends up marrying her, and they have two kids of their own. But unfortunately, Joseph starts acting like the old man, and he's getting violent. Hilda just says, I don't think so, and she leaves. So now it's 1957. He gets admitted to a mental hospital, first time. He gets out and marries again in 1958, a year later. This time he gets 5 kids with this lady, and he's abusive to all of them, doing the same crap to his wife and kids that his adoptive parents did to him when he was a little kid, beating them, and depriving them of things, starving them like he got. I mean, geez. So for about 10 years, he's going in and out of mental hospitals. Nothing is being done. This guy is like a ticking time bomb when it comes to serial murder. But it was 1972 that one of the kids escaped the house and went to the police. And Joseph was arrested. And while in jail, he was given an IQ test, to which he scored only an 82, which is really low, barely above 80, which is considered, mental deficiency. He also was found to be paranoid schizophrenic, so that would explain a lot. And doctors felt he should be supervised when with his children. Probably a pretty good idea. But since the kids then recanted their statements about how their father had treated them, they had to let him go. And he went right back with the kids and started his usual crap. And it was because he threatened the kids to tell them that he didn't mean what they said. So 2 years later, Joseph Jr. is found deceased in a vacant construction building after his father took the large life insurance policy out on him. Stupid. But not just Joe Jr., but all the kids had life insurance policies on them. So he's starting to show signs of like H.H. Holmes type activities. The guy who liked to score some cash while he got rid of the victims. It was like a financial arrangement. So it kind of takes it away from serial killer when you're doing it for money or hire. Maybe Kallinger was aware of the legend of H.H. Holmes and the murder castle in Chicago nearly 100 years before, but I don't think so. He was very low IQ, but possibly. The insurance company suspected foul play and did not pay out. But 1974, Joseph is ramping up now, the mental problems. He's claiming that he has a vision. And I am paraphrasing this. You wouldn't believe how much detail there is in this, but I'm paraphrasing it. One paragraph. He had a vision that told him about a prophecy that he's supposed to murder everyone in the world, saving his family for last. And then when everyone is deceased, including his family, then he's to do it to himself. Okay? Then he will become God and reign over his dead in the afterlife. He also had this odd detached head that he said followed him around. It was no body, just this floating head, and he called it Charlie, and it gave him advice. Really, really weird. Joseph and his 12-year-old son, Michael, take to the streets to begin their quest to kill everyone. All right? So hang on tight. First victim, a young Latino boy who was a street kid in town. I think Joseph did this as a test to see if he and Michael would be down for the cause. And they did. And they lured him into this abandoned building, stabbed him, left him there. That's the first victim. All right. Then, a few days later, they hop on a bus and go to random houses in Philadelphia, but also Baltimore and in New Jersey. And they would pose as salesmen, enter the home, which of course was fairly common, in the 70s with door to door sales and all that. Using the tactics, though, I believe, of the Boston Strangler, who posed as a maintenance man to see or to be there to fix a reported problem. And once inside, these guys would steal what they could and would assault the women, who were often found tied up with their own pantyhose or stockings. They did this to at least 4 families in a 6-week period. This also hints a little bit of BTK, Dennis Rader, which would have started around the same time in January of that year. So kind of weird. These guys were both operating at the same time. And it's possible one or the other may have read about the crimes of the other person in the newspaper. So curious. 1975, Joseph and Michael made their way to a home in Leona, New Jersey, posing as salesmen again. Using this time a pistol and a knife, they get 3 residents tied up in various rooms of the house. But little did they know that these people were supposed to be having a party. So all these people start showing up like in groups, So they're going to the door and getting the people, forcing them to strip naked, tying them up with like lamp cords and all kinds of just random things. And there's people just keep showing up. And the 8th person to show up is this 21-year-old nurse named Maria Fashing. And she refuses to strip. She refuses to let them tie her up. So what happens? Joseph stabs her in the neck and in the back. While this was going on, one of the others got partially free and ran for help. But unfortunately, Maria dies, and Joe and Michael are out, and they're gone before the cops get there because somebody went and got some help. They brought the cops. They were already on the city bus, which was their ride, and they got rid of the weapons along the way, and they're home for dinner. No harm, no foul. So now Joseph wants a place of his own, like a man cave. So he bought this abandoned house in a bad part of Philadelphia, and he took his kids there to help him gut out the place completely, as well as the wood floors and everything, and had them dig 20 feet down under the exact dimensions of the house, 20 feet down with like hand shovels. This would be like his temple and a place to go to get away and to prophesize. And he did that by, get this, again, I'm going to keep this as clean as possible, but it's disgusting. He did that by pooping into the 20-foot hole, then peeing on top of it, and then masturbating like icing on the cake at the end. This act would inspire a prophecy, and then he would prophesize. Weird. So the police were hot on his trail with the knowledge of Joseph's record and his history of violence. It didn't take long to connect the dots with the bus routes he was taking, lots of eyewitnesses that saw them. They were both arrested for kidnapping and SA. Joseph was eventually charged with the 3 murders. He was found sane. I don't know how, but he was. I mean, with a diagnosis of schizophrenia. I mean, seriously, they were, he was found guilty. He's found sane, gets life in prison there in Pennsylvania. And the court felt that Michael was influenced by his father, obviously. So he was put in a reformatory instead of prison. And once he's 21 years old, they let him out. And he moved away and changed his name. And no one has any idea what happened to him. I hope he lived a good life and getting away from that craziness. Now, Flora Schreiber, she was the woman that wrote the book Sybil that was very popular about the woman with multiple personalities. She interviewed Joseph in prison and at the mental hospital, and she wrote a book in 1983. I don't have this one. I do believe I have a book on him, but it's not this one. It's The Shoemaker, The Anatomy of a Psychotic. And it could be tough to find because it was wrapped up in this big lawsuit due to new Son of Sam laws at the time, where Joseph was actually getting a cut of the money. It ended up only that his royalties would be held up and the rest would be given to the, her and the publisher and all that. And then the families got his piece. He established a friendly relationship, though, with the author and sent her a Christmas card every year until his death. That's really strange, isn't it? I know when I interviewed Catherine Ramsland, she said that BTK calls her every year on her birthday and says happy birthday. How creepy would that be? So kind of weird, isn't it? She still talks to him on a regular basis. He died of heart failure, though, in 1996. Spent the last 11 years of his life in the turtle suit on what kind of watch for people that might hurt themselves. In an interview I saw with him on YouTube, he says he still wants to kill every day and he fights the urge constantly. Very creepy interview. It's not very long. It's only like 10 or 15 minutes long, but check it out on YouTube. If you just type Joseph Kallinger interview, it's first thing. So there you go. I mean, if you need some shoes, go see Joe Kallinger there in Philadelphia. What a crazy, crazy one. Thankfully, a low body count. They stopped it before it got like off the charts. It was bad enough, but it could have gone on for a long time. I mean, the drifter killers are hard to track down when they're in multiple states like that, especially in the 70s when they didn't have the computer power that they have now. But my sources, I watched a couple of documentaries on YouTube. Like I said, we did this episode on the podcast. I don't know which number it was. I didn't look, but we did one on Joseph Kallinger, and so I listened to some of that. Murderpedia, good resource, and the book Serial Killers: The Method of Madness of Monsters by Peter Vronsky. Not a lot on him, but a little mention. That's a great source for that kind of stuff for lots of reasons. So, Serial Killers: The Method and Madness of Monsters, and a couple newspaper articles that I read about from Philadelphia. So, what a crazy, crazy story. Um, so that's good. I got through it. I was thinking it was going to go long. I was trying to kind of move my way through that. But what do you think about Joseph Kallinger? Had you heard of him before? Yeah, I see. I see the conversation there between Words Bloom and Donna. We have had people ask about that. Yeah, we don't. I set the. There's a few things I can set, and when it comes to the filtering and stuff, it's like moderate. So we're not just wide open where we're going to get inundated with all sorts of crap, but I don't want to be restrictive and have people have problems. So keep it middle of the room, middle of the road there. But oh, I see my mom here. What's up, mom? But I don't have any beyond that. I have no control over it. I could have it if I wanted to. You could say certain words and this and that, which we don't do. So, like Donna correctly points out, um, YouTube, they filter things. So if it's a word or something they don't want said, I was even concerned about the nickname that Joe had for the floating head. I was even afraid to say that because I figured with all the stuff about, the man by that same first name with the last name of Kirk, there's so much stuff and so polarizing. I don't even want to go there with it. I know some creators are, but I'm not. I don't want any part of politics. Like, you can leave that. I don't want it. But I was afraid that it might flag it for that. So that's the problem. Is there's just, you got so many different things filtering it that could be any one of those reasons why it could get kicked out. But like John has said, we don't do that. It's not like we're sitting there screening the chat and then throwing certain ones out. So, all right. So Words Bloom is saying, I'm a real crime addict, so I have heard of him. So yeah, I heard about him on last podcast on the left. They were my earliest influence for podcasting because I'd never. I mean, again, I've mentioned this before. I used to do a heavy metal radio show on the internet, which was the same thing as a podcast, but it wasn't called a podcast. It was just an internet radio show. And I had them pre recorded and they played them on like 6 different channels or something like that. So I've been doing it for years, but it was just called something different, as I learned when I started listening to them, and like, oh, okay, this is basically the same thing we did, but much more digitized, easier to find, and all that kind of stuff. So I like their style, with mixing the humor in there with it. And I agreed with most of their slants on things, not everything, but I got to meet them when they came. They were doing a stand up routine and they came to a city not too far from me. And I went there, and it was a place that my band used to play. Is like a big theater that was converted to a bar and a music venue, and it was really cool in a college town. So it was always hopping, and we played there with Guar. That's where we did like some of our bigger shows. But anyway, I knew that there was this place out back that made the best empanadas I've ever had. So anytime we played a show there, after we were loaded out and everything was done, we went over and walked because it was in the same building and went in the empanada place. And we would eat them and just sit back and relax. It was great. So I knew that they were going to end up there. I just knew somebody would tell them about it. And sure enough, after their show, they walked right by us and stopped. And he saw the short guy, the guy with the beard. I can't remember his name right now. But he saw my shirt and he's like, Murder Metal Mayhem, that's cool, And I was telling him, yeah, I got this podcast, and he was really cool. But yeah, it's definitely cool when you can meet people that you like, admire, and they were real cool. They answered all the questions. We had just done our 100th episode because we were talking about demonic possession and talking about the real Robbie Mannheim case and all that. So those guys definitely know their stuff. But I know they're all different now. The one tall guy's gone, and yeah, I haven't listened to him in years. But very cool. All right, Juan Molina. I believe the band Devourment, very brutal, used some samples from an interview with Kallinger. Maybe they did. The song was called Molesting a Severed Head, yeah, or something close. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. This guy was so creepy and so weird, and he was definitely doing some strange things in that house. And like I said, guys, I paraphrase that. There's a lot more detail about the floating head thing and the visions and all that kind of stuff that if you're really into the story about this dude, there's stuff uh, you can watch. And Karis from Voice of Astrology says, do we know if he ever gave a confession, expressed remorse? Oh, he said he didn't even hesitate to tell him what he did. He explained the whole visions and why he did it, and did not have any remorse whatsoever. He was doing what he was supposed to do. And Geraldo's like, if you could do anything right now, what would it be? And he says, to kill you. And he's like, he's saying like he wants to kill people like right now, like get up and go do it. But he fights the urge. It's creepy as hell. But that was when he was in the mental hospital. First he was in prison, and they moved him to the hospital, and then he died in '96 of like heart failure. It was uh, something like that. I think it was heart failure. So yeah, pretty wild, pretty wild. So yeah, misleading evidence is correct. The interview is scary because he's just so as a matter of fact. If you ever watched the Iceman interview he did, where he's talking about doing some of the stuff that he did, and he's like laughing about it, that kind of creepy. Okay. However, the big difference is I think the Iceman stuff was grossly over dramatized. I don't think he did things exactly like he said that he did, but certainly makes for a good story. But I think that, the stuff, in this case, far worse with Kallinger. Worse. Like I said, because it's true. He did not hold back. He admitted to everything. He admitted to everything. And she correctly points out he is what nightmares are made of. That person that's just completely detached. There's no reasoning with them. With people like that. I mean, I'm telling you, this Tim Hortons coffee is so good. I've been putting my wife and I have been putting syrups in, like sugar free, and I've got in this one I've got pistachio. Oh, it's so good. Little Tim Hortons with some pistachio, some good stuff. So definitely salute to the Canadian listeners and viewers out there. Yeah, I'm the same way, words bloom with this. She says, part of me feels sorry for him because of what his parents did to him, played a part into the deranged, depraved monster that he became. I agree. I mean, geez, you want to talk about nature versus nurture here? I mean, Jesus. We don't know, his parents, right? Because they gave him up, or the mom gave him up after dad took off, which is awful. But we don't know. Like they could have been, a family thing, but certainly the way he was raised exacerbated any of that. I mean, my God, that was just craziness. So yeah, just an awful thing. But I'm with you. I felt bad for the guy too. I mean, I know he did some horrendous things, but man, think of yourself being raised like that your whole life. I mean, just so awful. I mean, human beings need nurturing in those early first 2 or 3 years. I mean, I remember my dad, who has a background in psychology, he always talked about that 3 year mark. Boy, that is huge. That those early years, tough to turn that stuff around. So it's messed up. Oh, we got Chucky here. I like coffee that tastes like coffee. I like coffee too, and this tastes like coffee with just a little hint of some pistachio in it. It's nice. I drink it. I drink regular coffee too. I'm not one of these coffee like latte this minus that. No, I'm not like that. When I go to some place like that, I'm like, I just want hot coffee with a little cream and some sweetener, and that's it. That's just me. Um, but but yeah, a little words bloom here. I like a little coffee in my cream. Yeah, I use some cream, but not too much. We actually use evaporated milk here. My wife was doing that when I met her, and I just started using it too. I don't drink milk. That's one of my. I should do a an episode. Probably 5 people would watch it, but an episode on my weird, quirky, weird things. And one of them is milk. Will not drink milk. I will drink it in like a milkshake, which makes no sense. I will eat ice cream. I will, even if it's starting to melt, I'll eat ice cream. Um, but when it comes to cereal, if the milk is really cold and I'm the one that opens it, then I'll drink it with cereal. People that have, don't live with me, that have been in like my refrigerator, they're like, why is all these like little bottles of milk here? It's because I use one and I use it and I toss it because I won't drink it again. It's the stupidest hang up, but it's been my thing. So anyway, so the evaporated milk is fine, even though some people say it's disgusting. It tastes the same to me. It just adds that little bit of creaminess. Uh, Karis is saying, "I love that. Please do a quirky show. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Like I said, when it comes to ratings, I just don't really care. My mom says I'll have to keep that in mind when you visit. Yeah, yeah. Just don't even worry if it's milk. I'm um, I'm fine with it being in the fridge. Like my wife loves milk, so she's always got milk here. So if I need to use it in cooking or something, that's fine. So like I said, it doesn't make any real sense if I won't drink it. Why won't I add it? It's up here. It's just up here. But and Words Bloom says she hates milk too, even as a kid. Yeah, the only way I'll drink milk is like when I was little. I remember my mom would get the chocolate or the strawberry. I could do, and I had to drink it fast because if it starts getting warm, I'm out. Can't. So when they show people like heating up milk at night on the stove or something, a glass of warm milk before you go to bed. I mean, it sounds like a night of throwing up. Is what that sounds like. That's what I think there. Lots of lots of serial killers hate milk. Hey, I'm admitting it. I'm not trying to hide anything. That's for sure. And that's not my only one. That's just probably the top one, the most ridiculous one. But I have other ones. I have other ones. All right. Yeah, my mom doesn't like milk either. So yeah, I take after her in a lot of ways. A lot of ways. All right, let's see. What else do I got here to talk about? Let's see. I also wonder what you guys think about this. Those of you that have been sticking with me through these serial killer story hours, is if you think that this guy might have been inspired in some way by the Glamour Girl Slayer. We did that episode on Harvey Glattman, who was tying women up, and we were talking about how he's been like pretty much everybody you can think of names Glattman somewhere in their list of others that have somewhat inspired them to do what they do, which is just crazy. But those people that do that are just, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it really is wild. So I think talking about these guys, these serial killers, in all different stripes, and trying to imagine who inspired who. I mean, it's just something I thought of. Is I wonder if he was another one that like interested in Glattman because of the way he tied his victims up, because that's what Kallinger was doing too. But I'm not sure with his IQ being so low if he was really, like scouring newspapers and stuff like some of these guys probably did. So I'm not sure. Okay. Um, what's next? Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right. We still got more time. Like I said, if you guys want to discuss Kallinger, we could discuss Kallinger. Let's see. Why don't we look at a picture of this Joker here? Let me see what I got. I think, oh, here we go. That's weird. I've never seen it like this where it doesn't show the a picture. So yeah, this is him, younger, obviously. Like when he first got arrested, teeth all jacked up though. And then this is him older with the beard. And when you see the interview with him, that's what he looks like, is the guy with the beard. Looks like he could have been one of the terrorists or something. He's kind of scruffy looking. There's a good picture of him in Murderpedia there. That one, that's a good picture of him. If there's really a good picture of Joe Kallinger, I guess. But yeah, if you're not familiar with Murderpedia and you're into this kind of stuff, a very good resource for stuff. And they do all kinds of t-shirts too, so you could tell that's why I like going there. But yeah, that's what he looks like. So next week, who are we going to do next week? Well, I was thinking, I like to mix it up, some male, some female, going to different countries and stuff. We've already been to Australia. We haven't been over to the UK yet. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I do some Joanna Dennehy? Now that's a gal you want to take home to mom. She is off the charts crazy. 2013, she goes on like this 10-day rampage with knives. She's like taking dudes on with knives and cutting people up. I mean, she's over the top. And she's like chasing people down the street. Yeah, it's a wild story. And it's recent, within the last, 12 years or so. But yeah, Joanne or Joanna is her real full name, Joanna Dennehy. But there's a picture of her with this knife. It's like that long. It looks bigger than a K-bar, to be honest with you. But it's got these big serrated edges on each side. It's like a small dagger. And she's like licking it. And that's the cover of the book. It's called Taste of Blood or something like that. I think that's what it was called. I think I wrote it down. Oh, Love of Blood. Love of Blood. I know some of you like to catch some stuff up before we do these, but if you're interested, the book's an easy read and it's called Love of Blood. That's the one on Joanna Dennehy. But the cover of the book with the knife and all that, that's definitely gets people's attention because it's pretty provocative. But she's crazy. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Whether it comes to is she the one from the UK? Oh yeah, she's from the UK. She's from England, and she is really really bad. Yeah, I'm gonna have to brush up on that, but it's a good one. Jethro Troll says that sounds great. Yeah, I like to mix them up. Um, it's a lot of. There's so many of them. I mean, it's like endless, really. I mean, I could just riff off of just mixing them up and going to Canada, down to Mexico, South America. We've done some. The only one I probably could never do on here is Pedro Lopez because he's like SA'd and murdered like 300 children. I'm not exaggerating. Down in South America, the worst I've ever talked about. Yeah, it's impossible to talk about that story without getting thrown out of YouTube for good. So Chucky says, I always look at the eyes, must have a soulless look. Yeah. You could tell a lot by looking at somebody's eyes, that's for sure. Now, I told you I've been working on my book, which is called At Death's Door. I have a friend of mine working on the painting for the cover. I wanted to go old school and do it from a painting. And we're going to do that. We're going to shoot that, and he's going to print it out. scan it and print it out commercially, and then put the text over it like a real book cover. It's going to look cool. And the concept of the cover is one that I came up with, but Mike, my friend, is doing it, kind of riffing off of what I gave him. But it's cool. And it's all about my necrotizing fasciitis and coming out of that, and then the leg amputation. Had to go through two of them because they did it in two parts. It's a long story, but it'll all be in the book. I can tell you that. I'm making really good progress. I just passed 20,000 words. My goal was at least 50 for this one, so I'm about 40% there. And like I said, everything's going really smooth. I've been really happy with it. I didn't really know how nonfiction was going to go. It's new to me, but since it's my own story, it didn't require a bunch of research or anything. You know what I mean? So short of some dates and so forth, but a lot of that's in my health record, so that worked out really well for that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do for the membership, I posted something here just a moment ago. Is that the members are going to get some excerpts, some rough draft excerpts from the book here this week in a couple different messages on the board, the members only stuff. So if you're a member, you'll be seeing some of that, be describing some of the nightmares and some other things in there. I like to get reactions from you guys and what you think. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for you. So, Karis asks, how is the studio coming along? The studio is fine. The only holdup at this point is the weather. I'm trying to wait for the weather to not require the air conditioning. It's getting close, but that garage gets hot. And the last thing I need is to get overheated in there and have to deal with that. The air conditioner could be done, but it has to be done ahead of time. And I have to be able to reach it and so forth. So it's an old air conditioner. I'm a little concerned it's even going to make it through the season. But once it is cool enough to not need the air conditioning, I'll be out there. Okay. I do have some more cleanup yet to do, but it's something pretty superficial. I could do a podcast right now out there if I wanted to. Everything's good to go. All the equipment's out there. I have a few random things I've brought in here, some cords and stuff, but for the most part, everything's already out there. I just have to bring the laptop and the camera. So yeah, it's close. It's close. But Juan and his guys from Blessed with Pain putting the ramp in there made that all possible. So those guys are awesome. Appreciate that. So Donna says she loves to read drafts. That's cool. So you're a beta reader for your friend. That's awesome. Well, if you want a beta read for me, you can do that too. Right now, for this one, I've been using my mom. She wanted to do it. So my mom is doing it. But I've got others I use too. But for this one, I didn't know how many people I needed to do that. I didn't know if it would confuse things. So I've kept it simple, but I don't think one more would hurt. So get a hold of me, Don, about that. And you're welcome to do that for me if you want to. But I know that it's a commitment. So if you can, you can. If you can't, no problem. But that's cool that you do that for your friend. So Chucky says it's spring here, but I don't like hot weather much. So you're in what, Australia then, I'm guessing? Maybe? It probably is Australia, would be my guess. Down under, down under. All right. Any other questions, guys? Any other comments, things you want to chat with? We got a few minutes left. Victoria, Australia. I was right. I was right. My favorite band is from Victoria, Australia. In Malice's Wake. Favorite band. Love those guys. Friends with Sean. Sean is one of my beta readers, as a matter of fact. Sean is a beta reader of mine, and they got a new album getting ready to come out. I can't even wait. I'm so totally psyched. Totally psyched. But yeah, I love In Malice's Wake. I'm not sure if you know who they are, Chucky. I don't know if you're a metalhead or not, but if you are, go check that out. All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything left to talk about, I will go ahead and get out of your hair. I don't have any hair for you to get into, so you don't have to worry about getting into my hair. It's too small, right? All right. Very good. Small world. Not really a metalhead. All right. Well, that's okay. But you could rest assured, though, Chucky, that this podcast, the guy that does this podcast, his favorite band is from Melbourne, right there in Victoria. So I know my Australia. We've done so many cases. We've done the Snowtown murders. We did Catherine Knight. We've done, the one out in Western, in Perth, David Burney. We've done some, just crazy ones. So we did the St. Charles, the Port St. Charles massacre. So we've done quite a few cases over there in Australia. So I'm somewhat familiar with it. But last one here. Do you think the Zodiac was ever positively identified? I'm not sure if the K is there on purpose, and I'm not sure what that means, because I know there was a Zodiac in California and then there was one in New York, but I don't believe either of them has ever been solved that I'm aware of. So, good question, though. Good question. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time. I'll be live with Lee. We haven't talked about what we're doing yet, but that'll be Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. And then I'll be doing a live one day this weekend. I don't know which day yet, but we'll do that at 4 Central. And that'll be just an open discussion on true crime. So I will get some more videos out. I know I've been bad with that lately, but the book is really consuming a lot of my time. But when you're in a groove and you're writing a novel, you definitely don't want to stop. So I'm in a writing frenzy. And so that's the reason. All right. Okay, guys. Well, let's see. We got somebody. Oh, we got a new member here. Excellent. Phil Biggs became a YouTube member. Thank you very much, Phil. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a good evening, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, I've heard it all before. It's just the outro and I'm out of here. If you did, you wouldn't be loving this sick, weird groove. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment to help us get out to more. Smash that like and subscribe before you go. You must be some high achiever to watch this whole thing. Copyright 2025 by Horns Hot Productions. Yeah.